Alert! Your favorite show is on now.
Greetings, everybody, and welcome to the ADHD podcast. This is your host, Steve, coming at you right now.
And this is your other host, Rob. Thank you guys so much for tuning in once again today. And the bigger topic that we're going to try and cover today is Adult Swim's impact on the world of animation itself.
It's Toonami time.
Now, for those of you who don't remember Adult Swim, you're too young. Secondly, it was that time of night that woke you up when you fell asleep watching Cartoon Network when you were a kid. And I won't tell you how many times personally that I would be watching TV downstairs and would wake up just being like, "Bah!" And it'd be a show that I probably should not have watched at the age of 8.
Yeah, you got to think that Adult Swim came out early 2000s, 2001. We get our first taste of this random block of animation, late night television, mostly streaming from going on, being aired from like 10 at night to 3, 4, 5 o'clock in the morning, where you're getting a whole bunch of different genres, whether it was Western adult animation or anime from in Eastern cultures that was coming in and populating and starting to introduce our side to that take, right?
Oh, yeah, no. And if you even looked at some of the anime that was coming in from the Eastern shores, that all of that was heavily influenced by American culture to make sure that it was edited in a way that was appropriate. For those of you, I know that this is a podcast, I'm doing finger quotes, appropriate for the consumers here in America.
Yeah, absolutely. And to feed off of that a little bit, Adult Swim always is kind of at this height of controversy. It started off with the guy who kind of created it, Laszlo, where he basically wanted to push these different extremes. He noticed that this airtime wasn't getting enough push. There's an audience for it. They started off really slow by picking up some old Hanna-Barbera shows and then redubbing them into being some of their pillars of their network. Shows like Space Ghost, Coast to Coast, Harvey Birdman, Attorney at Law, which got its own spinoff. That's more contemporary now. Bird Girl is out there in the world, but with the inclusion of these the Hanna-Barbera cartoons putting into the Adult Swim time frame, it gave a lot of people that saw a lot of the more popular shows like Scooby-Doo and those kind of shows out there a little bit more recognizability, a little bit more freshness to them, to get this very random time slot to get eyes to it at first.
And even bringing in some of those characters, it kind of connected parents to their kids a little bit to show that, like, hey, parents can like what their kids are growing up with.
Oh, absolutely. And this also, along with that idea and connecting with their kids in that sense, the kids watching this definitely should not have been watching this. This was so adult-driven content, and this is really one of the first instances outside of, like, at that time, Comedy Central had South Park, Fox had The Simpsons, which is, I don't get how that's considered an adult show, but we'll get into that later.
Oh,
but
no.
The whole idea of adult animation, curating a television show that was animated to be interested for an adult audience was something so different at the time that it started to unlock this idea of adults watching animation in the States. It was pretty remarkable at the time. And speaking about Adult Swim in this way, obviously they brought out Harvey Birdman, they brought out Brack Show, they brought out Aqua Teen Hunger Force. They were starting to get into the adult animation scene, but they literally saved a pulp classic in this country, Family Guy. They saved that show at least 3 times from it being canceled off of Fox.
Oh, 100%. Because if you look how Family Guy was going, how that really tried to push the envelope at that time to be like the edgier Simpsons. Ooh. But
It's true, though.
It 100% is. And with Adult Swim being there and giving that voice to animation that needed a place to be to kind of help everything out, brought that mainstream to everything else, where The Simpsons got to be a little bit more edgy, where Family Guy was able to stay afloat several times because of that. Into seeing Fox and some of the other syndicates actually looking into trying to be like, how can we talk to the parents instead of just the kids?
Yeah, absolutely. And just picking up on again, and just a funny story about this too. In my growing up, I wasn't allowed to watch The Simpsons. My parents thought that was the worst show, but I could watch Family Guy. I don't understand how the hell that got away, but that was my weird story of this. I ended up watching Family Guy because it was so late at night and my parents weren't there to watch me watch this. I'm in my bedroom watching TV and they're like, yeah, sure, you can watch Family Guy. That sounds like a great show. I had no idea.
See, I was the opposite in my house. I watched every single Simpsons episode for like probably the first almost 10 years, watching it with my dad and watching it kind of live on a lot of the stuff. And I could quote that.
I'm kind of envious of that, honestly.
Several times over, but my parents didn't like, and especially my dad, because he was very influential with the movies and the shows that I watch. He was like, yeah, no, Family Guy is stupid and it's just a knockoff or a worse version of The Simpsons. And that's kind of how I felt for the longest time until I actually got into Family Guy.
And now, so weird to think about that, even when it got saved in 2001, because of it being aired on Adult Swim and then getting repicked up on Fox, it became the most viewed television show in 2006. More people had eyes on Family Guy than any other TV show, animated, live action, otherwise. Just a weird statistic, but it's actually true out there.
Take that, Simpsons.
I think Matt Groening still wins. I think he's got 3, 4, 5 cartoon series that are probably really, really good.
Yeah, no. Futurama, we'll get to you at some point.
Futurama, I just want to touch on Matt Groening in general, because that man's a psychopath when it comes to future building, and also just his shows. The Simpsons, Futurama, Disenchanted. Thank you. Even though I still hate that show personally, but that's neither here or there.
For all of you listeners out there, please don't take anything that we say here offensively. We love you. We hate ourselves.
Especially us. We do. It's true. All right. And just talking about this, again, going into the adult animation front that Adult Swim obviously provided. Their main competition was MTV and Comedy Central at the time. MTV, powerhouse Mike Judge. He gets involved in Adult Swim way later on, but he was trucking and pushing through with Beavis and Butthead and Daria. A little bit more adult-driven content, still funny for kids to watch, so it kind of related and made the bridge happen between cartoons and cartoons for adults. And then dealing with the powerhouse that is and will probably always be until we stop watching is South Park. Everybody knows South Park.
And even looking at those shows, how later on down the line, MTV kind of dropped Daria after I forget how many years, and Beavis and Butthead just kind of faded into obscurity, that Adult Swim was able to pick them up and be able to show reruns of both those shows and even have newer episodes of Beavis and Butthead later on. And it's just kind of that idea of, well, if you can't beat them, join them.
Yeah, and absolutely to piggyback off that, I think that the network Adult Swim still operates that way. They very much pick up on things that other shows don't pick up on. Just for an example, I remember when Netflix was canceling Tuca and Birdie for season 1. Once they were done, they were done. They gave them a season 2. Adult Swim is the eventual place that it got aired on. Adult Swim has this kind of niche for finding these shows that are really well done for an adult animated content, but for whatever reason on their major network or dealing with the studio or whatever happened, right? They somehow find a way to cash in on the shows that people don't think about.
I mean, if you even look at some of those shows that are being picked up by them, there are some that have been on there that are just long-running staples that are finally coming to a conclusion, and it's really fun to see their progression of an animation style and how intense it gets from being just a stupid little 5 to 15 minute show like Metalocalypse into getting its own completing movie that is, I think at the moment it's out now.
Yeah, I
And
think so.
it
Yeah.
culminates the entire story, and just seeing the ebb and flow of Metalocalypse is on. Now you don't have it. Then you have new episodes. Then you don't hear anything for like 2-3 years. Then you have
Same thing with Aqua Teen Hunger Force. They literally just got the reboot. They just put out a new season. They were supposed to be done.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, but they're back. Yeah. What are we, Zeus? Calm down over here.
Now, if you're really going to talk about things, I'm here over here with Meat Wad. Yeah, you know what I'm talking about over here.
Oh, come on, baby.
Oh, yeah.
We're going to switch gears a little bit about Adult Swim here. I know Adult Swim, we always think about adult animation, but Adult Swim did do a little bit more than just that. It also introduced our side of the world to anime.
And that was coming in with everybody's favorite little robot, Tom.
Yes, Toonami.
And Toonami coming in. So when you look back at that, you think back and you hear all of these phenomenal shows from that time period, and you're like, oh shit, I forgot that it came out at that time. Or at least it was introduced to us at that time, because some of the shows came out like, 4, 5, 7 years prior to that.
Yeah, absolutely. You're talking like Yu Yu Hakusho, that kind of stuff, right? Where that was airing before in Eastern cultures, it was airing beforehand.
You can say Japan.
I can say Japan?
You can say Japan.
In Japan. Do I have to say it weird too, like I say anime? Bringing in anime, bringing in shows like Yu Yu Hakusho, Cowboy Bebop, which has probably one of the most insane introductions ever. That's still probably one that gets studied so much by animators all around the world.
Oh, dude, if you don't even look at the introduction, look at the animation that it has in the entire show.
For sure.
And it has, in my opinion, fight me on this, people. In my opinion, it has the best soundtrack to any anime I've watched.
Oh, ooh, that I might agree with you, honestly. I'm trying to think of any others, but definitely the only other one I could maybe think of is Inuyasha, but no, you definitely win soundtrack wise.
Yeah, no, the seatbelts, they did phenomenal with kind of gearing everything together and having that more gritty art style where they give it, you can hear the grittiness.
Oh, you
in
can
the music.
feel
you
everything.
You can feel the jazz, you can feel the bebop. And because of that show, I got into playing trumpet, and I got into playing in several jazz bands in middle school, high school, and college, because I was like, I want to play tank one year. And we never did, and it made me real sad. But
Gave you the big sad.
oh, it gave me the big sad. But just hearing that music and seeing an animation style like that, I was like, yo, this is different than watching Scooby-Doo or like watching the Rugrats. Like it was just, it flipped me on my head, and I fell in love with anime from that show.
Yeah, the culture shock was so real. And I know you're not the only one. I know I was one of those kids. I know my wife was one of those kids, but everybody knew someone who was like, yo, did you watch Toonami last night? Did you watch this show last night? Like a lot of people, at least I knew growing up, that was their introduction to a show like Dragon Ball, which not exactly the world beater of anime, but it's one of the most popular shows going. People know it.
It stood the test of time right now. If you look at it, how many spin-offs, how many reboots, how many same tellings over between Dragon Ball, Dragon Ball Z, Dragon Ball GX, Dragon Ball Super, all of that. How many different Dragon Balls are out there now?
Oh, I don't even know. There's got to be at least like 15 or 20, and I'm just exaggerating here, but seriously, it feels like there's a lot.
And there's so many stories that just continued on. And it's one of the animes that just kind of has trucked along from our childhood. The only one that I can think of, which was another big staple in Toonami after it came off of 4Kids, by the way, is One Piece. And just seeing when it was picked back up to do the English dub and brought over to Toonami, it was just crazy to see that blow up in popularity and then kind of ebb and flow because of how long it's been running, and seeing a resurgence with just for how long it's been running, and seeing a lot of new people coming into it because of the live action Netflix.
And piggybacking off of that once again, it's Adult Swim's knack. They find these ways to find shows that are out there and bring them onto their network. Just hear me out here. Some of the shows that they brought in anime-wise: Astro Boy, crazy. Clerks, the animated series. I know that's not really anime, but just having that be a part of it, that was really cool.
Dude.
Bringing Death Note in, bringing in
Full Metal Alchemist. You see Gundam Wing. There was just so many Samurai Champloo. Oh my god.
Why did we forget about that?
Because it's one of those shows that introduced me to one of my favorite voice actors of all time. Sorry, brain fart. Yay, ADHD.
We're fixating, I swear. Yes.
Of course we are. But it introduced me to one of my favorite voice actors of all time who voiced Spike Spiegel. And that is Steve Bloom. And Steve Bloom, after I found out who he was, literally started popping up in basically every show that I started watching. And I fell in love with the man. Steve Bloom, if you ever listen to this podcast, please, can we interview you? And I would like to buy you a beer and give you a hug.
I would love for that to happen for you.
Oh my God, I would love to meet Steve Bloom. I literally would myself.
Low key, probably my favorite role. Him as Yum Yum Hammerpaw in Kipo. That is my low key favorite impersonation of him. Just seeing Steve Bloom voice a gigantic lumberjack cat was truly it spoke to my heart. It really did.
I still need to get back into that show. But Steve Bloom, like, just having people like that introduce things that are pivotal to our lives. And
Todd Haberkorn, too. Having him just getting introduced to some of the voice actors out there that we would have never heard of if Adult Swim wasn't a thing.
And if you look at that, you kind of look to Full Metal Alchemist and you look to Inuyasha, that it just kind of, everything spawns from this one little thing, unless you had that one weird friend, that was like, hey, you should really watch this show. I have the DVDs at home. Like, it was something that wasn't readily available to us. And this made it readily available to us. Oh, I forgot about Fooly Cooly.
Yeah, what was the show? We were just talking about this before we hopped on, but what was the show that was inspired by Fooly Cooly?
Oh.
Oh, right.
That's
Avatar The
right.
Last Airbender was inspired by Fooly Cooly, but just, again, connecting our worlds together and just saying, go watch some scenes from Fooly Cooly and then go back and watch some Avatar scenes. You'll definitely see the inspiration and the love of the anime culture that these guys brought onto a contemporary show for us.
I mean, just kind of switching gears a little bit for 2 seconds, looking at anime and looking at how Avatar The Last Airbender came to be about, a lot of people, and myself included, would call that an American anime for the story writing that it has, the animation style that it goes for, and everything that it is. It really does feel like an anime that we watched when we were younger, that this show just came out a few years after we got into that style.
For sure. And on the opposite end spectrum of American anime, but was geared more towards the adult audience, was the Boondocks. And I know that was just like one of those shows that was so culturally impactful. I still hear kids talk about some of the scenes in that show. You see it on TikTok trend now with the pimp named Slipback dance. Everybody's still doing that. Like, it's still a thing. The whole point that we're giving to you guys today with Adult Swim is that it has a profound impact, especially on the millennials, but it had a huge impact on the world of animation in general.
Oh, 100%. And I just want to speak personally, like, with the Boondocks, I will say I have never felt more white privilege watching a show.
Absolutely.
The Boondocks. Oh my God. Watching that show, and I'm just like, oh, I do have a white privilege card.
And just some of even the sentiments of that show that hurt and hit so hard. And it's just like it really puts you in your place a lot of times as a white person, personally.
Oh, 100%. And it really does make you feel in an exaggerated way, because some of that does feel like real life. Some of that is very much exaggerated, but it makes you feel and not really understand the African-American community, but just know that, like, oh, we done up.
And that was probably the best show to articulate that, because they did it very poignantly. They did it kind of unapologetically too. And by the end of it, people still want it. People still want it in reboots and reruns, and it's still being played. And at last time that I personally heard, I don't know if you guys out there in the audience may have heard other things, but I heard the Boondocks was recently in the production of trying to get back on air and make new episodes, but something happened with the creator and the network again, of course, and it's starting to look like it's not happening.
Your guess is as good as mine.
Let's just dive into contemporary Adult Swim. What is coming out? What's currently out there? And everything else that's coming out. So, like, the new King of the Hill is getting rebooted. That's going to be pretty cool. You have a bunch of different anime that still populates that network. Stuff like Demon Slayer, stuff like Dr. Stone.
One Piece is still kind of kicking hard with its over 1,000 episodes, pushing 1,100.
Gear 5, baby. Gear 5. My one friend is so obsessed with One Piece, and I gotta tell you, I know I'm going to be a bad anime person. Y'all can punch me later on socials, whatever, but I think I've gotten past like 40 episodes of One Piece.
To all of you who like One Piece out there, I'm just getting into it. I just met Sanji. I'm probably now hooked for life. Cannot wait to meet Chopper and Frankie.
I did meet Chopper and Frankie already, as my wife sitting here just over my shoulder told me. We're at 74. So, 174. Damn. I'm a lot further ahead than I thought, but still.
Yeah,
long way to go.
Yeah, no, I'm still just meeting Sanji. But there's a lot of good stuff that's out there right now that is continuing on its storied tradition of having that adult animation that pulls in the parents that once the kids go to sleep after 8 o'clock, that they have a little bit of time to themselves, that they can watch shows like Rick and Morty, that is kicking strong and has been going on for 7 seasons now, I think. It's been a cultural phenomenon that's popped out of, once again, what people would consider an obscure TV hour for animation, or even just an
Regular
obscure
animation.
show because it's an animated show.
I mean, you also got stuff out there too, like Gendy's stuff, Primal, and the Adventures of, or why am I doing that today? Not my adventure, the Unicorn Warriors Eternal, that show from him. Outstanding stuff.
I mean, that's also another person that made their name on Cartoon Network and bled into Adult Swim. I mean, you had Samurai Jack, you had the Powerpuff Girls.
Gendy's getting its own show at one point.
Oh yeah, no, and like he's amazing, and just seeing all that stuff bleed into going on to Adult Swim, where Samurai Jack had a reboot that was very visceral.
Not considered a reboot, but yes, considered the final season. But yes, you're
the
right.
final season, the reinvigorating of Samurai Jack, that just was meant for those that watched it as kids are now just like, we want to see Samurai Jack. He does. Oh, does he do that?
Yeah, he does. And the other funny thing I just want to bring up now is, like, shows from our childhood are now slowly leaking into Adult Swim as a part of their whole. Did you know that they pushed Adult Swim up now in time on cable?
No, I didn't know that.
No, they pushed it up to 8 o'clock now, so they have like adult shows airing at 8 o'clock. But now they have shows that when we were kids are going up on there. So like Ed, Edd and Eddy, Courage the Cowardly Dog is on this now. Adventure Time, Dexter's Lab, Grim Adventures of Billy and Mandy. These shows are airing on Cartoon Network. Adult Swim, right? Does that not make you feel freaking old? It made me feel old when I saw that. Like, these are new old shows for you. I'm like, oh.
You have no idea what makes me feel old. Every day makes me feel old, especially working like with a younger generation. But just hearing those shows being brought in, that's amazing. And even going back to some of the newer shows that are popping up, where you have My Adventures with Superman, and showing. Like,
really enjoying that series so far. They've done a good job.
I need to get into it because Superman's definitely top 5 like DC superheroes. Not top 5 heroes, top 10 heroes, but top 5 DC superheroes. And just seeing a fun take that isn't geared towards kids too much.
No, it definitely feels more of that like teen adult age, like
Yeah, it's
if not mid-teen, but like you're going into college kind of.
yeah,
like you're getting
it's
ready
kind
for
of
life.
like when Young Justice was coming out.
Yeah,
It's
exactly.
very much in that like similar vein where you kind of feel all of that coming in. And it's really cool just to see the evolution of Adult Swim and Toonami and all of this coming from, hey, this is going to be late shows for parents, to, hey, we're going to show your kids some of the stuff that you remember that you probably still enjoy watching,
Yeah,
and then let them go to sleep, and then turning it up to like 11 so that you can enjoy your like new shows and the continuation of some of the shows that you grew up with. It's amazing, man.
the network that pulled off one of the craziest experiments in network history, and it's still going strong today. Cartoon Network's branch of Adult Swim. It's an amazing feat that they did. If you guys want to comment on anything that we did, you want to fight us back, you want to fact check us, whatever you want to do, reach out to us through our social medias, through our Twitter, through our Instagram, through our Facebook. Hell, you can even email us if you want to. I'll probably stick to the Twitter and the socials, thanks. But
Yeah, please. Like, we'll definitely take emails and everything. And hey, if you're finding us on whatever podcasting platform that you're on, drop us like a rating and a review. And who knows, maybe in the future we'll read some of those here on the podcast after like a musical interlude if we need to, you know, pad out time, because we're both, well, at least I'm a poor millennial. I need the money. Please, people, support me.
I am a mildly poor millennial who would also like the money. So please. Thanks for tuning in, guys.
I'm Steve.
This is Rob.
Hope you've enjoyed some ADHD. Bye-bye.
Toodles.
Thank you for tuning in to the ADHD podcast. We hope you enjoyed our nonsense and whimsy. Please make sure to follow us on our social medias. Instagram @animateddysfunctionpod and Twitter/X @A_D_H_D_pod. Links in the show notes below. Make sure to check out our merch on TeePublic. Our store link is also in the show notes below. Thanks again for listening, and remember, keep this podcast weird. Intro and outro music brought to you by DJ Cutman. Find him on all available streaming platforms, and you can find him on Instagram and Twitter @VideoGameDJ.